Yeah,
Good morning,
go ahead.
everyone. Today, Department of Computer Science has organized a webinar on skills requirement in the industry. You will get a lot of info about this topic by our today's speaker, Dr. Sandeep Deshmukh. He is the founder and CEO at Team Genie. Uh, just a little housekeeping before we get started. If you have any queries, any questions during the webinar or presentation, please type them into the chat box. I will bring them up at the end of the webinar, and we will have a special time for the questions. And I would like to request Kivekar sir for to share some words with us. Kivekar sir.
So I welcome my colleague Sandeep Deshmukh for this webinar, and I also welcome all of you on this online webinar. So Dr. Sandeep Deshmukh is our member of advisory board for our computer engineering department, and he advises us for improving our syllabus and academic activities in our department. Beside that, Sandeep is also my colleague when I was doing my PhD in IIT Bombay, and he is very enthusiastic leader. Always helps us in our department, not only in our department but also other colleges. And now he just started a new initiative and established a startup Team Genie to identify the growing talent and match their passion with their employment opportunities. And he knows the current trends in the software industry. And I request or suggest all of you to take his assistance in a very positive way, and ask as many questions as you want with respect to your career planning, job opportunities, and skills that are required in industry. So this is the one of the best opportunity that department is offering to all of you, and I suggest to take the maximum benefit out of it. I welcome Sandeep and continue.
Yeah, I'll turn off the video. So thank you, sir, for the generous introduction, and thanks Aishwarya also for getting this together. I think even Omkar and all the people behind making this an event. This session is going to be very informal. This is not going to be any technical part into it. What I have realized over a period of time in last few years when I'm closely working with the startups, what is it that they are really looking for when they are hiring? And this presentation is nothing but that abstraction, that gist of my understanding. And if you are able to sort of understand this and address this now, it would be a great addition to your skills, the technical skills that you have. Okay, so let's get started. And I'll ask some questions, and maybe you can answer, type it into the chat box also. So what do you mean by a skill? Yeah, type anything in your chat. Any answers? No one? Come on. Very bad. Knowledge to do some work. Perfect. Omkar, what else? So essentially skill, if you see the dictionary meaning, is ability to do something well, which is in line what with Omkar said. And there is some expertise. Now, why is any company hiring you? Because there is some skill, there is some expertise in you that they would like to utilize you, and in exchange will pay you for that work, right? If you have no skill, why should they be hiring you? Now, for a software startup, a technical company, knowledge of the technology is given. You cannot run away from that. Apart from that, what is it that you need to have is something we will cover in this webinar. So you must have done a lot of college projects, like you have done some assignments or done some projects, or even the labs. All of that I will call it as a college project. And then I would also say that something that is actually you are doing in the industry is what I would call it as a industry project. I would also include that type of internship in there. Okay, now or even your final year project is a college project. Why are you doing that? The main purpose of doing a college project is understanding the concepts. You want to learn. Learning is your main objective. But in the industry, it's more of a product delivery. You have to deliver some product which can be used by others. Okay. Now the user interface that you build is a very minimal. It just works when you're doing in a college. You're not really going for a smooth experience. But in the industry, if you use all those apps, Zomato and Swiggy and Amazon, if you see their user experience is awesome. You just like love using it. They are very intuitive. You're not really building that level of UI in your college projects. If the project has UI, well, the bugs are always free in the college project because you're not making sure it's really bug free. You're not trying to make it, oh, there is nothing, everything works and all that part. You're just trying to show the concept. Whereas in the industry, you can't have to afford to have any bug. Well, reality is there are bugs. You can't have a software which is really bug free, so you can't afford to have many bugs, is what I'm putting it. The goal is to earn marks, and the goal in the industry is to have user satisfaction, which will increase user engagement, and more users will use it. Typically, you're doing it in a small team size of 1 to 4 people, but in the industry, it's based on the product, it could be quite large. And the user base who is going to use it is actually a demo purpose most of the times. Very few projects get into more than that, and in the industry it's the real customer who is using it. So college projects are like gully cricket. you know who cares what you scored today? Tomorrow it's a fresh day, and there are people watching you enjoying. The setup is like the way I have shown it. You have a cycle, a wheel of the cycle or a chair. You have a plastic ball, rubber ball, tennis ball, bat, which is, sometimes homemade and all that part. It's like whatever is there, you use it. You are not really having a professional setup. And that's why even the expectations are that. The whole purpose is you are learning in the college. Whereas a professional cricket, you are expected to perform. You cannot just be casual, right? There is a setup. There are people watching you here, all those things. Uh, why are people even joining now? Like, I'm surprised. Okay, so the point is professional cricket has expectations. You cannot just keep failing. If you don't perform, you're out of it. In a gully cricket, like even if you score 0 every day, you are still playing the next day. Doesn't matter, right? Same way, in a college, if you don't even perform, you're still, submitting next assignment, doing something. Not so in the professional cricket or the industry. So what is it that you are expecting from a professional? Well, communication, ownership, problem solving, delivery, and feedback. So we'll go through them. What's a communication? Well, in a cricket, it's running between the wicket is one of the most important and critical communication. In professional setup, it's working with the team. Is the communication required at every step? Ownership, in a professional cricket, you don't want to throw a wicket, right? You always hear the commentators saying, oh, this guy was like, he's in mid 40s or 40s and 50s. Now he should build up the his inning, his or her inning, but then suddenly he threw his wicket. That's not really acceptable. Once you have done something, you have to build on top of it. Same way, in a professional setup, you are saying that, okay, this is the task. Don't worry, it will be done. I will do it. That's the ownership that is expected. Problem solving is something very important anywhere you go. So analyzing the team, your team strengths, weaknesses, opponent's team, and then playing according to it. Then you also have the playing conditions. So these are the problems. This is the data that you have, and you need to see the problem statement is to, you have to at the end win the game. Same way in the industry, there are a lot of problems, real problems that you have to work on, and you need to come up with the right data structures and algorithms to use. Not everything can be solved by arrays and linked list. There has to be a lot more to it. There has to be an optimization, the best way to do it. All those things come into problem solving. You have to deliver batting, bowling, fielding. You have to actually do it. Delivery, I mean, just talking doesn't work. You have to actually execute it. That is delivery. Same way, you have to code whatever problem you feel, what is the solution you feel is the right one. You have to code it, implement it, and then you get the feedback. There is generally a post-match analysis, and in a professional setup, there is a feedback from the user, and based on that, you are, you know, trying to upgrade your product. Can I just lock the meeting that no one comes in?
Yes, you can.
Okay, I'm locking it. I'll just put everyone on enable waiting room, and I'll once in a while let them in. Okay. So what are the skills required in the industry? It's problem solving, coding, and communication. So let's get into each of them. So important statement over here. Have you met anyone who has learned swimming without entering into the water? No. So to learn swimming, you have to get into water. Same way, if you want to learn this, you have to do it. You have to practice it. And then only you will be able to move ahead in life, acquire these skills, right? So in the problem solving, it's basically how to understand a real world problem and map it to a computer science solution. You know, a person coming to you, real person coming to you, may or may not have that the computer science knowledge. The person is going to come to you with a problem statement that, okay, I need to do this, I need to do that. What you need to understand is you need to make it, convert that into a computer science problem. That is the skill of a computer science engineer. Now, what is trainability? Trainability is how to learn. In the college, you are learning to learn. Why? Because whatever you have learned in college is not going to end your journey of learning tools and technology in the industry. This is just a test, tip of the iceberg, right? There are so many things which you will need to learn over a period of time. If you don't learn, you will be outdated technologically very soon. And I can tell you, based on my experience and understanding, so many people in the software industry which are around the age of 35 to 40, they are getting outdated and then they have no job. This is very, very unfortunate. The main reason being they are not able to learn and they are not relevant now. So it's very important that during the college, You have to learn to learn. It's a little hard, but you need to understand something like, a programming language. When you are learning, one is the syntax and one is the semantic. The easiest thing to do is learn the syntax. The most critical part that is expected from a computer science engineer is to understand the semantics. Now, I hope you understand what is the syntax and the semantics. The idea is, if I write a for loop or a while loop, what is this, like open bracket, semicolon, and all that is a syntax, but what it means is very important. And I'm giving a very simple example here, but every language has its, beauty, which you need to learn. That is very important. The other thing is making progress on hints. Now, see, when you are working anywhere, and this is even more critical now with the pandemic and people working remotely, no face-to-face touch as such, interaction. What has happened is, if you're stuck somewhere, you're going to ask your mentor or senior, like, okay, I'm stuck here, what should I be doing? The person is going to give you some hints. Okay, go this, search like this, or go on this page and find out, and something like that. They are not going to spoon feed you. They are going to give you some hints. Knowing those hints, you should be able to figure it out what's the solution. Very, very critical ability of a person. I weigh the most on this part when I'm hiring. If the person is not able to make progress on my hints, I do not hire that person. That's like period. Very, very important. So now you need to practice it. You need to sort of have that mindset of figuring out things based on some pointers that you get, and don't sort of let go things. Asking questions. Unfortunately, somehow we as Indians or Asians, we are not very vocal. We don't ask questions in the class. Uh, Somehow in our mind it is imbibed that asking questions is not right, something like that. But what's the challenge is, if you don't understand things and then if you don't ask questions to clarify it, you might be doing wrong thing. So it's always important to ask why. Do not assume anything in a project. If you assume things, you are very likely to go wrong. So always ask why. Why are you doing this? Even when I go for any evaluation for MTech projects, I just ask, you did this, fine, you get good answers, I'm very happy. Why did you do this? Why this solution works? Now you need to build that thought process of asking why. We do not accept that is coming as is. Always ask why. And I'm telling all this, you might be sort of like, too much. No, this is what will differentiate a good software engineer versus a not so good engineer. So you have to decide where you want to be. And enumerating the scenarios is where, again, asking why, it flows to it. Like, what all possibilities are there in your developing, and making sure you implement that. Or as a QA, as a tester, trying to understand what can go wrong and making sure you test it, and then make the system stable. So have that break the system attitude. It's very important from a QA perspective. Any questions so far? I mean, feel free to type in questions and I can take them.
No questions, sirs. Look like you have covered till the topics very clearly. There are no questions in the chat box.
No problem. Anyway, you can type in the questions anytime. Don't worry. You can don't hold on. The second thing is coding. As a software engineer, you have to code given. So you need to know your programming languages. At least one or two languages you should be very, very comfortable with. And how will you learn that? Well, college courses, online tutorials, you're doing projects, you're doing internships and all that is a time where you really learn the programming language, not just the syntax, but the semantics. Understand the nuances of the language. Understand what all you can do with small aspects of the programming language. So and only way is to code and code and code. That's it. Ability to learn the new language and tool. This is very similar to what I covered in the previous slide. It's basically understand the thought process behind anything that you're trying to learn. And then what happens is once you have understanding of how it works, you can use that knowledge while learning the other language. For example, memory management. Do you know how memory management works in C? Do you know how it works in C++? Like it's C++ has a similarity, but there is something more in C++. So if you know how it works in C, it's easier for you to learn in C++ because you have some concept how it works. And then you come to Java and then you realize, oh, it's very different than what it was in C and C++. What is the difference? Now from Java, you go to Scala. Scala is a anyway Java based, like JRE based thing. So it's similar. So you know if there is some problem which is related to memory allocation or GC, then you know where you have to look to fix it up. So that's why you need to sort of understand things. On a scripting and tools side, there is a very good course by MIT. It's called Missing Semester by Missing Semester. I would strongly suggest all of you, videos are available online. All of you attend that course online and just go through it. Practice whatever is covered there. Very, very important. What it covers are the tools that are generally not covered in the syllabus. So Git hai, bash shell scripting, then other like editor, all that part, which are in a way not covered in the syllabus because they are part of the learning that you happen. But why not master these tools? Because tools you should have to do any work, and these are the tools. So highly recommended to go through this course online. Last in this case but not the least, don't run behind it. So every now and then there are going to be what I would say new technologies coming into the picture. There will be new tools, languages, frameworks every 6 months. And the companies would always expect you to learn, like the framework is 2 years old, but they will expect a 4 years experience in that's a joke in the industry. Point is, if you understand the basic concepts, then you don't need to run behind everything, because whatever is new coming in, you can pick up very quickly. For example, if you know of the UI frameworks, React, Angular, Vue, all these are based on JavaScript. Now, if you have a good understanding of JavaScript, then picking up any of these tools is just a delta thing. But if you try to just learn these tools and don't understand how JavaScript works, how things work behind the scene, then every tool that you are learning is a new exercise. Whereas if you have the fundamentals, you know how JavaScript works and everything is just a delta thing. That's the key. Okay, very, very important. And frankly, you cannot learn everything. So many things coming in, you can't keep the pace. Any questions so far?
No, sir.
I'll continue. And we'll take questions at the end, no problem. This is like, anyway, the last couple of slides. Now, most of the engineering students are weak in communication because, Gauri, I'll take your question. I got a question. So let me just complete this, and you can, others can write questions also. We'll go through them. So we are not actually trained with right communication skills. So what is the problem? One problem that we have is, like, even me coming from Marathi medium, what happens is when I get into talking English, I think in Marathi and talk in English. I'm not fluent in English because of that. So what happens is you are actually in the mind translating things. That used to happen, I would say 20 years back, no more. I made sure that I get out of that thought process. So coming to this point wise, most important part is, are you able to comprehend the discussion? So can you understand what the discussion is going on? So there are two people or there are n people in the meeting. What is happening is when I'm talking face to face, I can see the reaction of the other person. And if the other person is not able to understand what I'm trying to say, the other person has option, or the person will say, oh, I didn't get you. Can you just explain me again? What's going to happen is then I am going to explain what I mean in a little maybe different way, or repeat that and make sure the thing is understood by the person. That is why I call it a synchronous communication, because there is a synchronization that is happening between the two people. Okay, you are getting a live feedback. And how do you do that? Well, there are a lot of courses, online courses and all. One good way is to talk with your friends in English. You need not be doing it like 24/7. I know people will say like, kya ho raha hai, kaise ho raha hai? But you can set up, say, 1 hour a day where you say, let's talk in English, because it is in beneficial to all of us. So only way is to practice. And the second thing that helps here is having a good vocabulary. Even personally, let me admit, I'm also very poor in having a good set of words. What happens is when you use the right word, the person gets it very clearly. Otherwise, you have to like write 3 sentences. But if you put up a right word, that's more important. So build good vocabulary. There are a lot of techniques. There are a lot of videos available which will give you 1 word a day or something on all that. Do that. This next thing is the writing skill. So in a software thing, you are working with clients. So email writing and all is going to happen. Now, understand this is asynchronous writing. That means you are writing something and the other person is going to read sometime later. And when the person is reading, you are not there. So it's very important to write your whatever you want to write in such a way that it is understood in on I would say as is basis. If you mean to say apple, the person reading should understand it as apple and not anything else. That's why writing skills becomes little difficult than the reading skills. Sorry, not the reading skills, the meeting skills and all, because now you have to be very precise. How do you do that? A couple of things which have which helped me. I started writing diary every day, and it used to be like when I started very boring, in the sense I used to like, okay, I woke up in the morning, I did this, I did this, I did this. Few days I did that just to make it a practice. And then someone gave me the feedback that, you know, what you're writing is you're writing what happened. The next level is where you write your thoughts behind when you were doing something. And that's where my the level of writing the diary change and level of communication change. Now I am expressing myself. I'm not just writing the events. And when I was in IIT, I started blogging, and I can tell you, blogging has helped me the most in improving my writing skills. Because see, I have to write something, and the other person has to understand exactly the same. So you have to spend time, you have to think how to put keywords, words, and all that part, how to construct sentences. So I mean, it's only because of blogging that my writing skills are here what they are right now. And my thesis writing was greatly positively impacted because of my blogging practice. Business English communication is very important. You need to understand the basics of communication. I'm here talking about fundamental English. So for that, you need to read English, paper, newspapers, watch movies, series, writing mails and blogs. This will give you business English. So you need not have very complex or the poetic writing, but a very simple writing is what I'm expecting. The next step is the fluent English, where you actually, the point I said, avoid Marathi to English conversion, where you are able to think in English and converse. So here again, you have to practice, have good vocabulary, and think in English. Uh, English is a foreign language for us. We learned it as a third language, most of us, and then used it. But that's the way you have to. That's the world. That's the way world operates. So you have to make sure you learn it, master it. Why I'm emphasizing this is because given to software engineers with the same technical skills, the person having better communication skills is going to grow more than the person with weak communication skills. Important that you understand the importance of communication skills. The next level of skills required in communication. So if you see, communication is the only leg which has two slides. That's important. It's so important in my opinion. The presentation skills and the public skills are the next level, where, because this is the presentation that I'm doing okay, may not be that great, but at least am I able to communicate what I want to do to a larger audience, where there is no direct feedback. On Zoom, I don't even get to see your faces. When I used to deliver talks directly in a hall, the experience was very different. And I have done it, like done to a large audience also. In Batu itself, I think about 7-8 years back, it was about 285, 300 people that I addressed, even in Pune. So I used to, like, my legs used to shake at that time when I initially used to address to such a big audience. Now it's no more. Now, I mean, I just logged in a minute before this call started, Zoom, and then I started, right? So it's only because I have given like so many talks. And most importantly, I am very confident about the topic that I talk. I know the topic inside out, and I know that I can answer any question that is being asked. These things are very important. You are under tension when you know that if someone asks me a question and I'm not able to answer, what will happen? So that little self-image and all comes into picture. But the moment you feel like, let them ask anything, I can answer, that's the moment your presentation and public speaking skills will suddenly change. And let me be honest, like couple of years back, I did a presentation where it was not my presentation, like presentation prepared by someone, and I wasn't prepared. And I was not confident in that presentation. I was literally shaking because I was not confident, and it was a small group, like just 4 or 5 people. But because I was not prepared up to the mark, it mattered. So the key here is you know everything. And again, practicing in small groups is always a good idea over here. The next few things are more of, growing you to the next level. So taking initiatives where your ability to, take ownership of things. If I ask someone like, can someone volunteer for XYZ? No one raises the hand. Why? Because like, okay, someone else will do it. Change that attitude to, instead of someone else doing it, I will do it. Take that ownership. Small responsibilities. You don't have to do like big thing. Small things. And as you take more and more, you'll feel confident and you'll have that attitude of taking ownership. And I can tell you, this is a very valued ability in the software industry or anywhere you go. Leadership, again, very similar to that. If you take those initiatives very slowly, you will get into leadership, because what happens is when you're taking those ownerships slowly, you will get tasks which you need to get it done from others. And so that's what, happy to coordinate. If there is a event like this happening, one person has to coordinate, right? Just do it. And the last very important aspect is, sorry, I'll just open the meeting. Fine. The last important is the negotiation skills. Uh, we are very comfortable negotiating with vegetable vendor or other people. But the moment you have to negotiate with someone senior, someone who has authority, we just accept what they say. Now, negotiations need not mean it has to be financial negotiations. It can be anything. For example, uh, let's say the talk is at 8 o'clock. The speaker says the talk is at 8 o'clock, and then the coordinator accepting it at 8 o'clock, or the coordinator saying, so can we make it at say 11 o'clock? That will be the better way to have more and more people and all that. This is also a very soft negotiation. We are getting things done so that there is the right positive outcome. Second example, what happens is in many companies, the calls that are happening with US companies are very late night India time. And I have seen that call starting at 11, call starting at 12 in the night and going for 1 hour, 2 hours. I was like very new to the industry at that time. And I felt somewhere not right. This is not the way to do. Over a period of time, I have learned to negotiate. I have learned to say no to a call at 12 o'clock in the night. I see it's both parties need this work to be done. So it's not that you have to accept what they are saying. Or the third example, the boss coming to you and say, okay, this is very important work. I want this to be done in 3 days. You know it cannot be done in 3 days. It needs 5 days. Ability to say that if you want a quality outcome from me, I will need 5 days is a negotiation skill. We highly lack this, and it also comes with confidence. If you have confidence overall, you will be able to negotiate well. So I mean, negotiation skills, if you have, that's like one of the most important skill to have in any industry, anywhere you go, even in married life. Okay, so that's it from my side. If you heard this something good, it's good idea to implement that. It's a good idea to implement a good idea. So do that, and never too late to start something good. So if you feel something is good in this talk, practice it, follow it, and knowing is knowing and doing is doing. So don't stop at knowing, start doing it. Okay, and as always, keep smiling. So I have one question. Others can type in the questions. I'll start answering them. Gauri, so first question is how to start to learn programming language. So I'll tell you my experience. and it may vary person to person. But when I learned C in my college, they asked me to read Richie's book, the person who actually wrote C. Now that book had a fundamental thought process behind why C is like that, or the thought process was very different, and that level of depth is nowhere in any other book. Now it's also not practical for everyone to read that book directly. You may not understand, so you may start with some other book, but that will give you a high level understanding of the language. But then you go to the best book that gives you what are the what are the the intricacies of the language, that you have to see. C++, we learn from Stroustrup, because Stroustrup wrote C++. Who better than Stroustrup can write about C++? Now it's a font 8 or something and 800 pages book. But awesome, once you read that, you will really understand. So I read it 2-3 times. One time is not enough, but you have to spend time. You have to spend time. Richie, possibly I have read it 4 to 5 times at least during my engineering days. And then we used to sit together, read paras, brainstorm and understand. Give different scenarios. That time internet was not that prominent, but now you have a lot of details available, lot of videos available which will talk about the topics and all. So you have to spend time, and you need to understand why something like this exists in a language. So for example, I don't know if you have learned C, there is a keyword called volatile in C. It took me a lot of time to understand why this word is, but no, we did a lot of research, we did some sample programming, we did something, and then we realized, oh, volatile means this. Same way in Java, there would be a lot of things. So you have to actually code, you have to practice dummy programs, see where it can be used. And essentially, if I have to put it in one word, you have to put in efforts, like one phrase, put in efforts to learn a language. So which language should we learn during first year? Good question, Gauri. This is no straightforward answer. I would be happy if you learn Python. Python is the language which is massively gaining popularity everywhere. So if I have to choose one language, I would choose Python. If you want to choose more, then there are like Java, C, C++, all those. But I would say Python could be your one language to master. I would say master it. 4 saal mein you just make sure you have a very good hold of Python. Which are the best platforms to do you want to suggest to learn to solve problems? So there are a lot of platforms like HackerRank, LeetCode, and other things. I can tell you these are definitely the difficult problems over there. But then there are a lot of places where there are simpler problems also. So the first thing is you need to understand your basics. You need to solve the exercises within the books. Generally, I would say do it in groups, because what happens is when you're doing alone, you do it and then if you're stuck, you give it up. In a group, that helps. So have coding what I would say, coding groups or coding special interest groups or something like that, where you meet once or twice a day. And I have done it just last year also, where we used to meet few people, take a problem, solve it, code it, and then have a discussion around it. So do it together. It will be a long lasting exercise than doing it alone. Did you get a time to make vlog and other stuff in your corporate life, college life? During our days, like I'm talking about 15 years back, vlog was not really popular. Blog was popular. So I did blogging. Yeah, I mean, you said also, sorry, blog. Yes. Did you get time? So I did blog a lot during my college. I used to spend 10 to 15 days in coming up with a topic, trying to understand the topic, making it a solid concept and then writing it in the next 1 week. So I enjoyed that and it has helped me a lot. Is academic curriculum important for to get good job? The academic curriculum is designed to get you a job, to make you an engineer basically, right? And even I'm working with sir to even make it so simple and relevant to getting you a job. So what you need in the job is the things that I have explained here. You need communication, you need coding, and you need problem solving. So not that, not everyone needs to know everything, but if you know Python, if you know data structures and basic algorithms, and you have good communication, you'll get a job. And these are three pillars which balance each other. You cannot just have one thing and not the other. So have all of them well balanced, you will get job for sure. Academic curriculum or programming languages. So programming languages are part of academic curriculum, right? And you have 4 years. So, whatever you do, you are doing in a programming language. And, spend some extra time solving problems online and all. I mean, what are you doing apart from college time, right? I mean, these days you can't just even meet. All those time pass addas and all have gone. So given that, I would say spend some more time in making sure you learn these programming languages. And only way is to do practice it. And see, academic curriculum, why is it important? Is it helps you think. What is an engineer? Engineer is a person who is who is trained to solve problems. And that's why that academic curriculum is important. Without that training of solving a problem, you will not be able to grow that swiftly. If you just pick up one programming language and nothing else, you're not complete. And that's the reason the academic curriculum is very important. It is there with a reason. Okay. Do you think engineering is all about getting job? Uh, Unfortunately, that has become so, but I have answered this. Engineering is all about being able to solve problems. Now, whether you solve then these problems after getting a job or in your personal life, or you be an entrepreneur and start your own, it's all about problem solving. What can you do after engineering? Don't hesitate to follow your dreams. I know this is a big statement, but let me put it this way. If you want to do drama, if you want to do singing, you want to do career in dancing, go ahead, do that. Don't stop yourself because you are an engineer. You should not be doing anything else. Don't do that. Just express yourself. But at the same time, I would suggest that don't leave engineering in between. A 12th pass and an engineer, hell of a difference. Get that degree and then do whatever you want to do. You want to do MBA, do it. You want to do MS, MTech from IITs, do it from good colleges. Just do it for the sake of a degree. Whatever you want to do, I would not say don't do it, but make sure you know why you are doing it, and that helps you grow in your career. Any other questions? I've answered, I think, almost all of them. Anything to Prajot? Does that answer your query or?
So I will add a few things, Sandeep, with your permission.
Yes, sir, please.
See, Sandeep has talked about many skills like communication skills, problem solving, and negotiation skill. And I would like to tell you one story that mm, when I was in IIT, I got influenced or impressed by Sandeep's negotiation skill. He is not only talking about the negotiation skill, and he has showed that negotiation skill when we were doing PhD in IIT. At that time, we were in need of a desktop for all research scholars, and he approached to head of the department, and due to him, uh, me and other research scholars got the desktop. So I was actually the beneficiary of his leadership skills and negotiation skills. So that I thought to share with you. And see, in IIT, everyone is brilliant and talented. And I have missed to tell about one important thing about Sandeep is that Sandeep has graduated from NIT Nagpur, then did his MTech from IIT, PhD from IIT Bombay, which are very reputed institutes to get admission. And at these institutes, everyone is talented and brilliant, but very few students I observed such kinds of skills. So that's why he is an example for you how to for these skills. And another thing that I would like to tell you is about the communication skills. See, some of the examples of communication skills are participating in this webinar. Our academic curriculum has many things to cultivate these skills. Like Omkar Raut is continuously blogging on Medium. Now he has wrote about 5 to 10 articles on Medium, and it will give him a very different exposure, and people get influence like me. See, I have told you that I got influence from Sandeep, and still he is my friend. So there are many ways in which you can influence your colleague, friends, and be in touch with them all your life after the schools also. So these are the few things that I would like to share with you. And if any questions, now Sandeep can answer
Thank you,
this.
sir. Yeah, thank you for reminding that. I remember it was not an easy task to get those
Yes,
things.
yes, yes, yes.
And you know, people will have all reasons not to do something. You have to push, follow up, and just that reminded me. I was also on a hostel council for mess related matters, and it was like every week we need to negotiate, we need to get things done from the mess manager, because it was a private mess. Every day it was like, getting things done. It's all negotiations. I cannot just come up with I was not a person who can just rule, okay, I need this. It's all about negotiations. And someone who has good negotiation skills is bound to grow in life, and who is not will face challenges. So good part is these days there are so many tools and videos and data, not tools. So many things are available on the internet. You can do that, but the point is you have to do it. That's why the third point, knowing is knowing, doing is doing. You have to do it. You have to do it. There is no other way than to do it, and that is applicable to everything that you learn. You have to practice. You have to do it, and that's the, I mean, if you have these skills, no one can stop you from being successful in your own terms. But if you don't, you are going to face challenges. One observation, sir, I was very disappointed that students are joining late.
Yes, yes.
I'll tell you
I
the
will
reason.
take care.
I'll tell you the reason. That chalta hai attitude is very killing.
Yes, yes.
I'm like, this happened second time. I think the last time I gave this talk, same thing happened. People were joining for like next 5 minutes. And I asked
Yes.
like, why? There's no reason. If you know the talk is at 11 o'clock, then the talk is at 11 o'clock. That's it. Why? Why are you even saying like, wait for 5 minutes, we'll wait for people to join? Is it something that came as a surprise to you 5 minutes back that everyone, oh, there is a talk in next 5 minutes? Okay, then I'm okay to say let's wait for 5 minutes. But when you know that there is a talk on Sunday morning at 11 o'clock, why should it start at 11:05? Absolutely not acceptable. This is not acceptable as a professional and not even as a student. It's
These
all
are
in the
very,
mind. Yes, sir.
these are very small things, but matters the most. See, Miss, when I I am sitting in front of my PC since 10:45 to listen you.
Exactly. I mean,
Yes.
I was planning to log in at 10:50. I got in something, urgent.
Mhm.
So that's why I logged in at 10:59. But I logged in at 10:59. Point is, it's all in the mind. It's all in the mind. So I'll give you a real example. There was a meeting, let's say a big shot, some political meeting was to happen in a city at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And it was raining. It was really raining heavily that day. So when, it was 2 o'clock, the leader said, let's start the meeting. And few people who were around, they said, can we wait for 5-10 minutes? People are still coming. I said, why? So it's raining outside. He said, so what? It's raining, right? It's raining since morning. Is it a surprise? If it takes 10 minutes more, if it is raining, start 10 minutes early. Very simple. But we have that chalta hai attitude, or like, oh, it's raining, we are okay to reach late. It's all, wrong way of thinking. And I can tell you, those who get this right will grow. I know a person and I can tell you I have learned a lot from him, especially for time. So there was a meeting with that person. I wasn't knowing that person. So there was some common connect who said, let's meet. Meeting was at 11. I reached there at 10:55. And then there was this common person who reached at 11:10. And by that time, this person had left, the first person. So he said, I came at 11 o'clock meeting. I came at 10:45. I was there before time. I waited till 11:05. I should not have, but he still says I waited for 5 minutes. No one came in. I was there, but I wasn't knowing whom to meet. So I was waiting for the common person. He left at 11:05. He said, if you're coming late, tell me 5 minutes before that I'm coming late. I'll wait, but I cannot wait indefinitely. He left. I learned from him a lot. I said, right, why? I can be on time. And from that day onwards, I have that mindset that I want to be on time. That is a mindset. If you want to be on time or not to be on time. So you decide for a month, can you have this mindset? And you will see, you will enjoy. You will enjoy. You'll really feel proud about yourself when you are on time. Just, this is the professionalism.
Yes. Many
Joining.
anxieties will get reduced.
Sorry, sir.
Many anxieties get reduced.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason why you're joining late. Let me be very frank.
Like
Out of
persons like me,
people,
now when we are growing very old, so your blood pressure gets heightened if you are late. But if you are
yeah,
on time, yes, your blood pressure is
exactly.
very normal.
Exactly. I mean, there is no reason you should be late for a meeting. That's it. That Vandundya. And it will help you in your career. Note it down in your copy today with the date and open it 5 years down the line. You will realize how it has changed your career, change your perspective. हा एकच point आहे छोटासा, but it will help you everywhere. Attitude matters. It's all about attitude. So yeah, I mean, I'm really disappointed on that people don't join on time. There is absolutely no reason for you to be late. Tell me if you have any reason. One person may have some genuine reason. I'm fine, but not 20 people out of 30.
And problem is that those who are this is in such cases, no, students who are very punctual, no, they get irritated because of other their friends.
Exactly.
Yes.
I did not took the extreme step, but I wanted to actually lock the meeting at 11 or 11:02 max. Lock it. You
Because
will not be able to enter it. That's it. I can't do. You can't do anything
because when
because
I was taking physical classes, no,
hmm,
so in that cases, whenever attendance is poor in the class, only those students who are attending the class, uh, they get scolded, not those who are
exactly.
missing the class.
Very true. Very true. Anyway, enough of it. I mean, I don't want to drag it. Unfortunately, that's the reality here. But yeah, good. Any feedback, anything on the top, feel free to, you know, share with me. I think this presentation is anyway open, accessible to everyone. So I'm just putting the link on the chat also.
You are
Uh,
also shared with me.
I have also shared with you. Please feel free to share it with everyone in the group. There's nothing to hide, and this is a very relevant one. If you can get 10% of it, your life will be a lot better. Okay.
Thank you, Sandeep.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for giving me this opportunity. I really love talking with students, sharing whatever I have learned from my mistakes and everything. So feel free to, come up with new topics for me. I would be more than happy to do that.
Anything you want to add, coordinator Aishwarya, Omkar?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
First of all, sorry, sir, for disappointing. We will make sure for next webinar we will on time. And I would like to thank Dr. Sandeep sir for enlightening us with his knowledge. Today's webinar was actually full of knowledge, skills, and interesting things. I'm pretty sure that this precious knowledge that sir gave us will definitely help us in our future. I would like to thank Kivlekar sir for arranging this great webinar. Also, thank you to all the students present here for paying your attention and learning. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Aishwarya. Bye.
thanks, Sandeep.
Yeah, bye.
Okay.
Yeah.